All right, everyone, things have changed for over the last couple of years. Remember back when people said Trump can never tackle China on trade? Like, there's no way to retool any trade deals. He'll get stomped. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's inept and crazy, basically. And then he came in, and at first he was acting like incoherent, and they all freaked out. And I said, don't worry, it's part of his negotiating strategy. Yeah, he wants to take Kissinger, essentially, and export it from the military to the economic realm. And he's friends with Kissinger. It doesn't surprise me at all. Trump doesn't strike me as a warmonger, but he does strike me as a forceful U.S. interest first sort of president. That seems to be what he's doing. Look at the USMCA. But now even CNN. CN, link in the description, archived of course. CNN talking about how China has been screwed over by Trump's new blind side on tariffs. So what happened is that China was dragging its heels in negotiating. They were approaching a final deal that they've hammered out. Favorable terms to both the US and China. It renegotiates things. It would reduce a lot of the tariffs that we experience in China, and this could have a ripple effect in markets throughout Asia. What happened is that Trump, I guess, got impatient. He said, well, fuck you. You're not negotiating at all. You're just stonewalling. You're hoping that a Democrat wins in 2020, and I guarantee that he's right on this. So they're stonewalling. Okay, tariffs are back on $200 billion worth. Oh my God, said everyone in the U.S. Oh my God, it's going to collapse the U.S. economy. Terrible. No, what ended up happening is it just shocked Chinese economy, and now they have all sorts of problems. And so they're scrambling to get back to negotiating. This is what you have to do. I mean, Trump is the only president we've had recently who seems to comprehend the fact if you go in all in and you go in hard and you're 90% of the way through negotiating something and the other party just stops having interest in it, so you have no choice but to kick him in the ass. And here's the fundamental thing. Here's why he'll be successful. And I've said this all along since he started talking about wanting to renegotiate our trade deals with China. Here's why I think Trump will win. And this will be a huge optics win for him for the 2020 election if he manages to get the deal signed before then, regardless of its actual content. I mean, it'll probably be peanuts to the U.S. economy as a whole. If it improves anything at all, though, he'll be able to strut around on stage for months about it. It'll be a huge campaign issue for him, a massive win. And it won't piss off China. They'll be happy, too, to continue selling to us. Here's why he was always fated to win. It's an economic disparity. We are China's largest trading partner, by double digits, I think, if I remember correctly. They're not our largest trading partner. They're a distant number 2 behind Mexico, and I don't think too close to number 3, I think, is Japan, if I remember correctly, and they're, surging on ahead. We have a lot of trade partners. China's economy is largely built on exporting goods, cheaply made goods and raw materials in some cases. We are their biggest buyer. They're not our biggest seller. It's a disparity. It's an imbalance in our relationship. Because we are the buyer, we can negotiate terms more easily. Because we can always buy those same easy to manufacture goods from any of a dozen other countries. We can get them from Thailand. We can get them from India, which would love to strike more trade deals with us. I think that might be a good deal in the future anyway. Turkey certainly has that element of their economy. Parts of Africa now. Nigeria certainly. Ghana and some of these states. Parts of South America. Mexico even, to some extent. We can get those cheaply made goods anywhere in the world, basically, from any non-first world, not quite industrialized nation. But where's China going to find another economy big enough to absorb all of the goods that it needs to sell to maintain the economic growth it already has? It needs the U.S. By the way, China doesn't want to put us into a depression. Sometimes politicians will come out and make these weird statements like, oh, China wants to destroy us. China, it's dystopian. They want to replace it. No, they don't. They don't care if we're the economic superpower of the world. They don't care if we're the military power, as long as we generally play nice. All Trump's doing is making sure that they understand, hey, we're not going to be able to play nice if you don't renegotiate this, partially for political reasons. Ultimately, the trade disparity we have with China is peanuts compared to the overall economic view of the U.S., but Trump has convinced a lot of people that otherwise. Shh, by the way, Trump fans, don't talk about that too much. Ultimately, we get a bigger problem with our border than we have with Chinese trade. China's hacking is a bigger problem than trade disparities. But having those deals, here was Trump's goal initially. He didn't decide one day, hey, I'm going to overhaul every goddamn trade deal and have 100% America first on every negotiation. He was smart. He decided he would go in really hard and say that at first, bring people to the bargaining table, and they say, okay, look, we can't do this, but we can reduce this tariff, we can buy this good, we can strike this deal. And so he gets a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here, and overall, it massively buffs up the U.S. economy. If he gets 5 or 10% of his ask with China, it'll be a great day for our economy. You watch what happens to U.S. markets, and he will take sole credit for it, and he will be right. Him and Pompeo to an extent. It'll also help with negotiating on North Korea. I wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes that topic has been brought up. Hey, Xi, this particular part of the trade deal is really important to me, but I bet I'd be willing to give it up if X, Y, and Z with Kim Jong-un over there. Put in a good word. Make sure not to send them all the rice that they're asking for their famine. Don't send them this weapons system. Maybe consider sabotaging this munitions factory over here. Guarantee that sort of talk is going on behind the scenes. Maybe not directly between Trump and Xi, but definitely between their various entourages. These people come with a million other diplomats too. Trump gets to go to Beijing and eat, Beijing-made McDonald's hamburgers. I don't think he seems to only eat junk food. It's amazing he's in as good of health as he is. I mean, he must burn a lot of calories going to 3 meetings a day. But yeah, I think he'll be successful. When CNN at this point is saying, yeah, China just got blindsided, their markets are in a free-fall, basically, it's got to be a really big win for CNN of all entities to greenlight a story by one of its staff praising Trump's efforts, especially on an economic issue. The last thing they want to do right now is proclaim, yes, indeed, Trump was right on trade with China. But they see the writing on the wall. He succeeded with the USMCA. Remember when he first did that, Mexico told him to fuck himself. Trudeau told him to fuck himself. What happened within a couple weeks? Mexico cracked almost immediately. Said, no, yeah, sounds good, we'll renegotiate. Trudeau then left out of the big three in North America. He's like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? Canada's economy can't survive without U.S. trade. I think Canada's like number 4 on the list of our trading partners. But I don't think that they're one of our largest suppliers. I think are we their largest trading partner? I think we might be. So you've got all these lopsided arrangements because the U.S. buys everything, and the U.S. is the military guarantor for half the world. That's the other part. Western nations that are part of our military sphere, they're going to have to negotiate. They've started paying more for NATO as well. The European countries have been paying their fair share. It's wonderful. We're paying billions less a year. Trump has saved this country so much money, and he gets almost no credit for it. At the very least, even if you think Orange Man bad, and he's sexist or dangerous, okay, but he's good with money. Yeah, this, by the way, just proves that his tax returns probably aren't fucked up. He probably did make a lot of money and just take advantage of the tax code. He's smart when it comes to negotiating and numbers and things like that. I think he's doing a great job on that. I give him an A+ on economic issues. I don't think that there are many people who wouldn't at least give him a B+ or something, and that includes a lot of his critics. Even people that generally they'll comment on my shit. Oh, you're a Trump apologist. Even they're like, yeah, he's doing well on trade. He's doing well on taxes for most people. 68% of Americans saw a significant decrease in their taxes, but somehow only 50% of Americans support the tax reform. It's really funny. The Democrats pulled a fast one on that. They got out ahead of the bus, essentially, and they managed to give it a flat tire, but Trump's, recovering now. So, yeah, CNN is praising the President Trump on a trade deal right now. The major trade deal, the biggest one of all, like the USMCA or the deal with the EU on, German automotive and stuff like that, peanuts compared to this. It's 1/10 the size of the Chinese trade deal. Ripping apart NAFTA and replacing that, nothing compared to the kind of deal making he's doing now. That's why it's taking so much longer. This is going to be the capstone of his first term if it goes through and is favorable to him. And if it's not favorable, if he stumbles, if the deal falls apart or something, it's going to be a black eye for Trump's re-election bid. That would definitely decrease his chances of being re-elected because he's got mainly a trade, tax, and money platform. That's about all. Peace out.